Is this a must-win for the Raptors, your pick out of the East?
You ready for this? You mean you're asking me?
I'm asking
Is the second game at home to a team that seems to have a psychological whammy over them? Can they afford to lose the first two games against that team that's owned them in the playoffs in recent years? Can they afford to lose the first two home games to that nemesis? The answer is yes.
Get out of here.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's like a trick question, right? But no, actually, the answer is yes. The Raptors can even lose game two and still win this series. In other words, is game two must win for the Raptors? No, it's not. They can still win the series. I'm reminded of the Spurs a couple years ago, coming off that championship win against the Heat. That's one of the most beautiful teams anyone's ever seen. And then they're playing OKC the next year, and oh my God, the Spurs are amazing. Is this the greatest team ever? Or where does this rank among the great teams ever? And they beat OKC in the first two games and then get ran out the gym the next four. It can happen, particularly with an older team. When they have to expend, even if they're playing the right brand of basketball, they have to work harder to achieve the same results. When you think about how lucky the Cavs were to even get that game one win, if they somehow luck up and get a game two win, they will have used up their luck. They're not going to get lucky twice more. And the Raptors are simply the better team. They're younger, they're fresher, they're deeper. They're better defensively. They're actually better offensively, too, and that's been consistent all year. So, no, as a matter of fact, the second game at home where they could go down 0-2 in a best of seven to the Cavs, who've owned them, is not a must-win for the Raptors.
Well, first of all, Max, the fact that you said that the Cavs lucked out and won game one is just ridiculous. You're talking about a game in which LeBron James, even though he had a triple-double, didn't shoot particularly well from the field. So the fact that you didn't even get LeBron's best effort and you're still able to win, I don't know if I would call that luck. But to the bigger picture with the Toronto Raptors, in sports, we know that psychology plays a huge part in sports. And we know that the Toronto Raptors have been knocked out of the playoffs the last couple years by the Cleveland Cavaliers. When you're in a situation like Toronto right now, where the Cleveland Cavaliers have already accomplished what they needed to accomplish, which is still won in the very first game of the series. And now you're talking in the back of your mind as an athlete with the Toronto Raptors, you're going to have thoughts, oh, here we go again. Because we've seen this movie or we've seen this script before the past couple years with the Toronto Raptors, where they've ultimately fold to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if you're the Cavaliers right now, you're playing with house money. Imagine how those guys feel right now going into this game, knowing that we've taken one game. If we come out here and play free and play the type of ball that we played in game one and take this game going back to Cleveland, you can stick a fork in Toronto because they're done.
Max, let me just get in here for 1 second. They have the one seed. They're about to be done 0-2. This core group has been together a few years. How can you not say this is the biggest game in their franchise's playoffs?
It may be. It doesn't mean it's a must-win. In other words, they can lose it. It'll go 7 at that point, but I'll still take Toronto. I just think they're the better team. Even if they're down 0-2, even heading back to Cleveland, I think they're the better team. So you talk about the psychological whammy that the Cavs have over them. Okay, maybe it showed up in game one. It's possible. The Toronto Raptors have been there before. I actually think that makes them more experienced. They've revamped the offense. Guys like DeRozan taking threes actually spaces the floor differently for them offensively, even if he's still not great at always hitting them. But the threat of them shooting from the outside has changed the way they play offense. And you see it was a different team this season. They had the number one seed. They were a top 5 offense and defense throughout most of the season. Most of the time, that's like a championship formula, actually. That's been the Raptors. And having been there before, and even having kind of collapsed, if you want to say, mentally in game one and barely lost, and now the Kevin Love information comes out, very well could have changed the outcome of the game, because not only do they get the extra free throw, they get the possession too. And in a game that close, like think about what happened in that game. Not only the things that I mentioned, but Toronto had to miss their last 11 shots, the last 11, to lose by 1 point in overtime, that flagrant not called against Kevin Love, and Van Vliet missing an open three that could have won the game. Like, and the little chip shots they could have had
Yeah, and what do you
to win the game.
attribute that to, Max? Mental collapse?
Even if it is, think about that. It took that kind of mental collapse in a game where everything went wrong and they still probably should have won. It's just a better team than Cleveland, so I believe they can go down 0-2 and still win the series.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. Man, we got some shit to talk about today. I didn't think I was going to have to make another fucking video right now, man. Damn, we got to make another one, bro. I was going to let this game 3 just play out, see what fuck happens, but we got another one. Let me just thank my man's Kobe Ladd for finding this particular video, man. He hit me up. He said he even though I had returned, Kobe, he been rocking with me since I got this channel up, man. He was one of the first people that been rocking with me since then, and he's one of the few people on here that gives me information in my DM about certain things, and he let me know about this because he know damn well I don't watch First Take or none of these morning shows, so I appreciate that from him. And I just had to comment because obviously it's some people out there know that Max Kellerman been bigging up the Raptors. I didn't know he was until now. I mean, so I definitely want to talk about that because that's something that's interesting. One quick thing that I want to talk about before I get into Max Kellerman real quick, and by the way, if you didn't watch my last video, I definitely suggest watching my last video after this one because if you already didn't, it's a video where I talk about the winds of change and how the Raptors might be able to swift the momentum over to themselves despite getting into a situation where the odds are like even more against them than they were at home. I talk about how they're finally probably going to beat LeBron on the road in the next 2 games. So, I go over that, on the last video. But, because it's weird that I talked about that, and I bring that up because it's weird that I talked about that in the last video. Despite what happened to the Raptors last night, it's almost like, well, I'll get into that in a second. Let me talk about this real quick. Because there's a lot of misinformed LeBron sexuals out there, LeBron dick writers out there. Like, for some reason, I don't know what it is about. See, this is why people don't really respect. Well, it's not that they don't respect LeBron. It's the fact that they always have to say something negative about him. It's due to the fact that people always want to compare him against the greats in the past, mainly Jordan and Kobe. And I know for my man Kobe Live, he with the name Kobe Live, he a Kobe fan, he a Laker fan, so, and he not a Raptor fan, but he respects my team, so I appreciate that from the brother. And I told Monterey Moore, it's cool, man. He don't respect my team. I've actually lost respect for the Pistons lately, man, because I don't like the way their organization been run the last 10 years. But I do respect the history that they have, and especially the Bad Boys team in the 2014. Those are 2 of my favorite teams of all time to watch. But, respect is earned. So, I don't have a problem with that, but Kobe was, this time of year is tough because the people that watch Jordan and Kobe, especially Jordan, because we know the young LeBron sexuals did not watch fucking Jordan. So, there's always this thing where they have to hype LeBron up and tear what Jordan did down. And it's annoying as hell because when you watch basketball like we did, us older cats, it's like, dude, how you want to come on here and look, you could say whatever positive things you want to say about LeBron without having to tear down Jordan and Kobe, or even to a greater extent, Larry Bird, Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain, some of the old time greats. And I don't know why people have to do that, Oscar Robertson and stuff like that. I don't know why people have to do that every single time just to build this guy up. Like, just let his career end, and we'll see where it's at. We'll see where it stacks up. We'll see if he's a top 3 player of all time. In my opinion, he's not, mainly due to the fact that he's had a lot of choking in his career. He's under 500 in the finals, and in my opinion, he got saved during all 3 of his championships. Now, that's not a bad thing. I mean, people look at that like a bad thing. I don't look at that like a bad thing. It's just the truth, though. Mike Miller and Shane Battier saved him against the Thunder. Ray Allen saved him the following year, and then Kyrie saved him in 2016. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's the truth, though. You know? But Jordan had help, too. Kobe had help. LeBron had help. You need help. My man DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, they need, my mans, you know, they need help, too. Everyone needs help. These are team sports. Everyone needs help, but let's not try to make it seem like one is better than the other. So I just, you know, I don't want to talk about that no more. But I just had to bring that up because I'm getting tired of, you know, people. Because you hear, I mean, this is why I don't watch those shows either, because I know people do that around this time of year, all the way into the time he gets eliminated. So it is what it is. I don't want this to be a long video, so I want to get into the Max Kellerman stuff right now. Now, Max Kellerman said something interesting. I made sure I posted it. I'm gonna see if I'm still able to post the videos up under this, but if I did, if the videos were played in the beginning, that means I was able to put them up, because I didn't test them out yet to see if I could put them up. Because I know, like, Disney and ESPN been on bullshit where they block their videos and shit. So I definitely want to, I definitely just want to see what's going on with that. So hold on for a sec. I'm trying to see something real quick. But yeah, if you was able to watch those 2 videos at the beginning, you know that Max Kellerman has a stance where he feels like even with the team being down 0-2, he feels like the Raptors aren't in trouble yet. He feels like the series is probably just starting, just like I was saying in my previous video. But it's interesting because, okay, what made this yesterday, right? So yesterday's episode, what made it interesting was that I didn't even know Max Kellerman had us winning the series, right? But a lot of people did. And they probably changed their opinion after probably Tuesday. Probably not even just after yesterday, probably after Tuesday. And what he's saying, though, is that even though being down 0-2, he doesn't think that they're in trouble yet, which is interesting because everyone else is saying that they're in trouble now. You know what I mean? Like, there's not too many people right now that believes that the Raptors are going to win in Cleveland, which is something that they haven't been able to do against LeBron in Cleveland and during the playoffs. They have never beat him on the road. Never. So they are in a tough position. But what he brought up was interesting because I was talking to people at the studio. You know, everybody's a Raptor fan. Ain't no Cavs fans up in there. Everybody exclusive Raptor fans. We were talking about the game last night. I knew that was coming, and I really didn't want to talk about the game, but I said, okay, let's just ride with this. Now, what's interesting is like what I said. The fact that he still thinks that down 0-2, they're not in trouble because of one main thing. And I thought this was interesting because I've noticed it against the Pacers as well. Pacers are a young team. Raptors are a young team, right? Most of the team is young, especially the bench. If you watch the games closely, you notice one thing about the Cavs in that game yesterday. The Cavs were extremely fucking tired. I mean, not that they are extremely tired, that they exerted a lot of energy in the first 2 games, especially yesterday. they exerted a lot of energy, and they're an older team. Now, they also have some players on the team that are young, but it's not like they're still the more older team when you put the two teams together. They got a lot of players that got a lot of playoff seasoning on them, a lot of guys in their 30s and stuff, including LeBron himself. Whereas on our team, the only guy I think that's over 30 is Lowry, I think. Because Ibaka's in his upper 20s. DeRozan's like right there at 30. Like he's like 29 or 28 or some shit like that. Valanciunas is actually young, even though it seems like he's been in the league forever. He's only like 25. Believe it or not, like 25, 26. So I think Lowry and CJ Miles are the only two dudes that are like over 30. So everyone, like, when you think about it, like, the Cavs have had to use so much energy. They've been involved in the finals the last 3 years, so they don't get a lot of rest in the summer. I think he's got a point because I'm gonna be honest, like, and the players admitted this yesterday. The effort from the Raptors was not there in the second half. In the last couple of games, they haven't used their energy to full 48, whereas I feel like the Cavs have. The Cavs have used probably about 40 minutes of energy. I won't say it's the full 48, but I'll say it's about, because in the first quarter, they kind of play off a little bit. Starting in the second quarter is when they usually start to expend their energy. And this is one thing that the Pacers, I could tell when the Pacers was noticing, like, damn, we're getting this team run out of the gym. Like, they're getting tired and shit. And I do think that at some point in this series, and it could be game 3, it could be game 4, this team's going to get tired. This is why LeBron complained about rest. I think it was before yesterday's game. And he put an emphasis on wanting to, getting a sweep. Because that way he can get rest before the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's why I made it very apparent yesterday in my video last night or whatever that they needed to sweep the Raptors, like, in order to get that rest as well. I forgot to point that out, that's another reason why they need to get the sweep. They're a team that needs to rest before this next series, right? So it's very important for them to not allow the Raptors to get back into this series. So that's why I've been bringing up the fact that I really think that this could be the reason why the Raptors end up still in the game or two, because I think it is going to come down to energy. Because, like I said, the Raptors have barely used theirs, man. They've barely emptied out the clip. They've barely emptied out the clip. And you can tell they didn't play with a lot of effort, which means they're not really using their energy that well. So I think what Dwayne Casey is gonna tell his guys is that we need to use our energy tomorrow. We need to empty the clip. Like, don't hold back. You need to empty the clip and run this team. And that's one thing I really haven't seen from the Raptors too much, except for in the first half of Tuesday's game. That was really the only time where I really saw the Raptors using any kind of energy in this series. They were running the fucking Cavs out of the gym. And I think Hubie Brown mentioned it yesterday in doing the game that they need to use energy, like they need to run with a faster pace. And they just weren't running with a faster pace. So that's something that's got to change too. And salute again to my man's Monterey Moore. He actually posted this. I was reading him and Kobe go back and forth on, how tough it is for me to be a Raptor fan or whatever. But my man Monterey Moore said that he don't trust Dwayne Casey. He think he might be the problem. And I told you guys the other night, I don't know. He could be. We'll know after these next 2 games. If the Raptors going to hit against Sweat, I think it might be time for Masai Ujiri to step in, and it's a really tough decision for Masai Ujiri because Dwayne Casey has been the best coach in his team's history. But he may need to get his Phil Jackson in here, which could be Jerry Stackhouse. And because Jerry Stackhouse has the experience in the G League of taking a team to 2 straight finals, winning the year before. He didn't quite have the same players this year, so this year the team didn't win. But Jerry Stackhouse, he's been able to coach whatever. It doesn't matter what level it is. I know he hasn't done it in the NBA yet, but I think it's very important to note that he has actually coached his teams to that level. So we'll see. We'll see if we need to make that change, because I think that's the one change that they need to make. And then the other thing, I'll talk about this more after the series is over, but I think Kawhi Leonard needs to come up here to Toronto because I think that he might be the missing piece for this team to get over the hump as well. Now, we'll still see. I still believe. I still just want to focus on the series. I don't really want to talk about next year just yet because we still got some games to play. But I just want to talk about Max Kellerman, what he mentioned, because Damian Woody and Stephen A. Smith, they reiterated the same things that we've been already hearing before. So whenever rebuttaling gets fucking Max Kellerman, it didn't fucking matter because what were you telling us that's new? You weren't telling us anything that is different. But look, I felt like what Max was saying was interesting. And even if, okay, some people don't want to be proven wrong and some people just do not want to listen. But I think you have to listen to Max Kellerman. This is why I see some people bringing this up, even LeBron charged because, or Cavs fans in general, that they seem to be intimidated by what Max Kellerman said. Because he says, like I said, you could see Molly was shook too. By the way, fuck Molly Curl. You could see that she was shook too. Oh man, look at that. She was shook. You know what I mean? She was like, wait a minute, if they're down 0-2, how are we, how are they not done yet? And that's how everybody reacted to this nigga, what he's saying. This is what I said last night. I think too many people took that game too seriously, man. We really need to see how the Cleveland games played out. Because I said that from the get-go. I need to see, even if we had won the first 2 games or won game 1 and lost game 2, it don't matter. We was going to have to win in Cleveland anyways. So we're going to have to see how this team plays at Cleveland first. Now they don't really got the pressure on themselves. Pressure is off. And like I said, the pressure is on LeBron now to win this shit. And, like I said, he's got to sweep this fucking team because if he gives them any sort of life, we're going to have a 7-game series. And guess what Max said? It's going to be a 7-game fucking series. And I'm glad, one thing, I'm gaining respect for Max after this because I'm glad he stuck by his pick. Even, I had to watch, I was like, I told Kobe, hey, do you got his video from today? At the time, he didn't. So I had to go look for it my damn self to go see if that video for the day was up because I want to know if he changed his stance or not. He stuck by his guns. So I was like, holy shit, this nigga ain't playing. He ain't playing. We'll see, man. I'm telling you, we're going to see because so far he's been proven right. He said they're going down 0-2. He said they're about to come back in this series, bro. Let's see what happens. I thought it was interesting. Thought that I'd share it with y'all. So it'll stay up. Let's see how this game 3 go tomorrow, man. This thing is interesting, Let's see if Max is right by Monday morning, Because we got a game Monday night. So we'll see what happens. And interesting, man. Shit. All right, y'all. Peace. The winds have changed.